Well, good to be back again. And let's continue on. Tonight's topic has to do with resistance and transformation. We have choices to make, and we don't always make the choices that are best for us. And I want to start off with a story of when I was in high school. My science teacher brought a monkey into the classroom. And the monkey was just jumping around and doing its thing and was becoming somewhat disruptive. But the despite the disruption, the monkey would not allow itself to be caught. The instructor, teacher, took a long neck bottle and put it in a vise and put some nuts into the bottle. The monkey started sniffing around and stuck its arm into the bottle to reach the nuts. Monkey grabbed the nuts and could not, with his fist closed, remove the nuts from the bottle, and the monkey was trapped. The monkey's resistance to whatever image the monkey had inside its head trapped it, because no matter what, and it was making noises with its mouth, no matter what, the monkey would not open its fist, and because of that, the fist kept its arm stuck inside the bottle. When we are born, injected into that, whatever you want to call it, is the word survival. It's whatever it is, but part of, let's call it the genetic code maybe, is survival. That period of until viability takes about 40 days when the fetus becomes viable. And we carry that instinct for survival for the rest of our lives. On some level, some picture, some image is implanted within us. And all of us have the instinct to survive. And one of the things I always want to differentiate with the work that we do is that I can take drugs out of your life. I can take alcohol out of your life. I can't take food out of your life. And if we're going to survive, food is an essential element in our survival. I've talked about the fact that food and comfort are closely linked together. And therefore, there's another element here involved. I need food for survival. And that need is greater than anything else, survival. Now, when you guys started the program, you recognized that if you continued to behave the way you've always behaved, then the result would be the same. Which means that you already had somewhere within your mind the fact that you would have to change. You couldn't continue to do what you were doing in the way in which you were doing it and survive. As we change from Acu weight loss to Acu life, one of the changes we make is something I've thought about for a very long time. Everyone, and it was in our name as well, weight loss, lose weight. Everything about what we have been doing, and let's not get into the content of the program itself. The program works. If you work the program works. If you work the program works. If you don't work the program doesn't work. There's nothing more to discuss. It's fixed, it's stable, and what we used to do, Acu weight loss, we do with Acu life. Except what we did is recognize something. The issue of survival has connected with it a long sentence, different for some people than others. But what it has connected with it is a sentence that says, I want. Forget about adding to it, subtracting from it. I want. And I want comes from these images that develop within us as we grow and as we develop. People are uncomfortable with change. And so people are uncomfortable with something that is inevitable. You cannot live without change. Period. I don't care how many times you do it again and again and again, inevitably, each time you do it is slightly different from any other time. And change makes people uncomfortable because it makes them uncertain. So the very aspect of survival, unless you generate it in a positive kind of way, is going to make you anxious, is going to make you uncomfortable. So let's accept something that's right here and now. All of you want to weigh less. Notice I changed what I said. I took away the negative word, and all of you want to weigh less. And here is what is critically important. There is no good or bad. It's how. I'm sure that if I polled everyone here, there would be some similarities, but everyone has their own concept of the reason they want to lose weight. They want to weigh less. And here is what is important. If weighing less were not the central issue, if weighing less were not the central, we would have nothing to discuss because food would have no plus or minus, positive, negative. It's only because we want to lose less that food is an issue. So, question number one, and again, remember you chose to be here because you want to weigh less. Now, if there is meaning here, the question is, what's going on that you resist having exactly what you say you want? The fact that you say you want it because X, Y, Z is irrelevant. You are entitled to have it for whatever reason you wish. It's irrelevant the reason you choose to weigh less. It's not a good or a bad. It's something that you want. You have a goal. So the first thing you have to ask yourself, are you in the process of weighing less because you're clear in your mind what your goal is? Now, the next step is important too. There is no rational reason for anyone to tell you that your reason for wanting to lose, to wanting to weigh less, is a problem. There are billions of people. They have millions of reasons for doing things. If you want to do something for you and you want to weigh less, it has to be for you. And if it is for you, then you're permitted to say, I want to weigh less. So the first thing you have to do is accept the fact that you want to weigh less. And it's inevitable that if you continue to do what you've always done, you're not going to succeed in weighing less. So you already signed on for making change. Now, change is going to make you uncomfortable. Resistance, in part, comes from the discomfort. It's not the same. I'm not comfortable. I have to change. I'm uncomfortable. I don't care what your reason is. It's valid. And the reason it's valid is what you want. So until you stop and say, it's okay with me to want what I want for me, until you accept that, you're going to resist what comes next, which means I have to change, and the change is going to make me uncomfortable. And because it's uncomfortable, I resist. I'm my own worst enemy. Unless you recognize that every single morning you get up with you. And if the you get up with doesn't make you happy, you have a problem, because you cannot escape the person that you get up with. That person is with you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you're living with a person whom you're not happy with, who has their own ideas. They may be from inside you. I don't want to get into that aspect of it. Keep it simple. If that person inside you isn't on the same page as you, you're living with someone whom you cannot escape, whom you're not happy with. And since that person who lives inside you is also a part of you, you're not happy with yourself. Now, although what I said is true and rational, if we accept that, then in order for you to feel good, you have to change. Now, let me inject into that. Thoughts and feelings are not important. Thoughts and feelings are thoughts and feelings. What counts is what you do. Now, those thoughts and feelings that you have were injected into you the moment the egg and the sperm connected. Survival came in as well. And that issue of survival can, depending upon how you understand it and how you deal with it, because what you think and feel are just thoughts and feelings. There's a red light. What do? I stop. And why do you stop? Well, it's a red light. I should stop. But why do you stop at a red light? Well, because it's the law. Is that why you stop? Because it's law? I don't think so. I think you stop because you recognize something deeper than that. It's very possible that your survival is dependent upon stopping. Here's an answering me. The phone is ringing. Okay? What do? You answer it. And why do you answer it? Because the phone is ringing? I have a machine. The machine will answer it. In fact, the machine has no choice. It rings, it's programmed to answer. The phone rings, you're not programmed to answer, but you do answer. Well, why do you answer? Because you have inside you some image, some picture, some goal that you want to achieve. And so what you do is in some part a reflection of thinking and feeling, but thoughts and feelings are not a good reason. Pardon that. I should shut off my phone. It said spam, so I just hit off. Now, I want to weigh less. Decide why. I don't care what your goal is. It's your goal. You're entitled to it. Now, once you have that goal in mind, you have a rational reason for your behavior, what you do. And that's step number one. Because you're committing yourself to a goal. Now, the question then is, what is it about people that they are ashamed or feel guilty about telling other people that they want to weigh less? Is there anything wrong with wanting to weigh less? I can't think of a reason other than let's get into that, psychological aspect like an anorexic. That's not normal. That's problematic. So if I decide what's good for me and I do it, then I'm doing it for me and I'm going to get experience that's going to help teach me. And that's a problem too. How many times have you done something and then said, "Oh, that was stupid"? All of us have experienced that kind of thing. I hope you can hear me. I'm having problems with this computer. It's doing strange things this evening. So I hope you people are still there and are will put up with me. Now, this is important. If you get what you really want, and you have a right to want whatever it is you choose to want. What is it about people that so many are ashamed or feel guilty about something that has nothing to do with anyone else? I want a new bicycle. I want one that's easy to ride. I like the exercise. I like to ride. What do you mean you want a bicycle? It's freezing out. There's traffic. You get hit by a car. There are 50 million responses that I get from other people. And I give myself up. I give up my importance to me, since you know very well that I have a right to want a bicycle. I have a right to want to weigh less. That person's thoughts have nothing to do with me. And I need for you to understand that what goes on in other people's minds that has in the past influenced you have nothing to do with you. It has to do with them. Now, this is important. You are not a machine. A noise goes on, a telephone rings, the machine answers. You have a choice. People can give you 14 million reasons why not to answer the phone. Their opinion, unless there is a true danger to yourself. There's some cactus, and I decide to roll around in that cactus. It was dumb. It was stupid. It's painful. But I had a choice. And that choice came from within. That choice did not come from outside myself. So what I have to try to get you to focus on is all of your choices come from inside. They don't come from outside. Now, I was dumb and I was stupid to roll in that cactus. It hurt like heck. But I can learn from it. I can learn the fact that unless I want to, I have control. I don't have to. Now, here's another one. I'm working at a job and I lose my job. I feel badly. I think that it was unfair. And I'm miserable. Okay? I'm saying to you that feeling miserable was your choice. You didn't have to feel miserable. You could have done something else entirely. But that was your thought. So Let me ask you a question. How many times in your life has self-criticism and feeling gotten you anything? What it did, it caused a distraction, it caused other kinds of things, but you chose to be miserable. You chose to be depressed. Weighing less is no different. I've done this and this and this before, and it didn't work. Therefore, I'm helpless, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. That's not where we're at. And until we get together on the same page with this, you're going to play this roller coaster game forever. Remember what we did. We took loss out of our name to put you in the middle, living, not criticizing, not self-criticism, not self-recrimination. You have nothing to be ashamed of. If you allow yourself to be shamed, then you're letting other people's opinions, which have nothing to do with your goal, nothing, to rule. And why? I want them to be happy. I want them to like me. How do you feel about feeling shame? And why do you feel shame? Well, their opinion is different than mine. So you think more about them and their feelings than you feel about you. One of the reasons we don't right now talk about the actions, what you do with our weight program, is because you already know that if you do it the way it's supposed to be done, you're going to have the success that we promise you. And that's simply based on, let's say, 25 years and thousands of patients and well over 1 million pounds. And 25 years backs that up. Oh, hi, Yvonne. Good to see you. And everybody, that's Yvonne. And all of you know Yvonne. And let me tell you, I'm very excited that Yvonne got COVID. It was a week ago. She's on the mend. She'll be out of quarantine tomorrow. Tomorrow will be our last day of quarantine. And I'm so excited that she now has some antibodies and immunity so that any future infection will be milder. So good to hear from you, Yvonne. And now people don't have to ask me what's doing with Yvonne. Now, getting back. The key then is, if I recognize, if I do it again and again and again, and it doesn't work, and I do it again, hoping it will work, it doesn't make any sense at all. If you don't want, are not happy with the results of your behavior, you can be miserable, you can be angry, you can be upset, but if you act it out, all you're going to do is to continue to do what you've been doing. So, right now, you, where you are the most important person in your life. You come first. And the moment we start to make ourselves first, to like the who that we are, it may be difficult, it may take some time, but we're going to transform ourselves, and the success will be there. And that's critically important to understand. Now, everyone has a problem with weight. Every single one of you. You wouldn't be sitting here if that were not the problem. Now, therefore, first, have a reason to do what you're doing. And make sure that the reason you have is the reason you should have for you. I can't decide it for you. I may have a different opinion. It's not a matter of right and wrong. I want to weigh less. So unless we get out of the middle and criticize ourselves, we're going to be crazy. Now, I've made a decision. Sounds good to me. I'm now going to weigh less. What do I know? I have to change my behavior. What do I know? It's going to make me uncomfortable. What do I know? I'm going to resist feeling uncomfortable. What do I know? That if I take action with the recognition and acceptance that I'm going to feel uncomfortable, but if I work through the discomfort, I'm going to get closer to my goal. And if I get closer to my goal, I'm going to feel better. And I'm going to learn about the things that I do to get closer to my goal. Because accepting the fact that the things that I do are going to make me uncomfortable, accepting the fact that doing the things that make me uncomfortable are going to cause change in my life, all I've done is reveal the truth. Change is inevitable. Nothing stays the same. Now, what does that mean? You can't claim that because someone doesn't cook well for you, that someone doesn't like you, that someone was mean to you, that you were upset because, that this one hurts you, you can't claim that it's from the outside. You will never escape those feelings of, I don't know, maybe bondage is the word, if you accept the fact that you're hopeless, helpless, and powerless. You're not hopeless, helpless, and powerless. Step number one is the one that I told you about to begin with. You get up in the morning with you. And if you don't like the you that you get up in the morning with, you're trapped. Because you're trapped with someone who follows you around 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Every waking minute, that person is with you. And it's someone you don't like. And on top of which, that it's not someone that you like, it's part of you. Now, I am now accepting the fact that I must do things that are going to be helpful to me. Now, it's hard to love doing something that makes you uncomfortable, unless you understand and recognize that you're the one in control. Now, because I'm so committed to it, I continually come back to the magic protocol. I don't know about you, but I know about me. I am imperfect. There's no question about it. I strive to be better, but I'm not perfect. And I have weaknesses. And some of my weaknesses reflect badly in the quality of my life. So, if I continue to behave in the way in which I have behaved because they distract me, because they comfort me, nothing in my life is going to change, and I will never truly have a quality of life with me as the most important person in my own life. Now, recognizing that I'm not perfect and that I can give in to those influences within me that are there because they have developed over my lifetime. I don't know how many of you catch yourselves doing something and suddenly realize, oh, I did it again. Now, the reason you did it again is because somewhere inside you, there is this tendency, there is this thought, there is this image of something that you want. And that something that you want was created by situations and circumstances in your life before. And you approach them in a manner that is not effective because that's what you did because you wanted the thing in itself, even though the thing in itself, the way you are doing it, is not effective. So that, for example, when it comes to food, there are certain things that you can tempt me. Just put it in front of me and there's a voice. And that voice says, you know, if you indulge, how it's going to feel. And you know something? I know how it's going to feel. It's going to feel super. Wait a second. The truth is, it's going to feel super. And then what? I'll have guilt. I'll have remorse. I'll be angry with myself. I'll have contempt. I'll be annoyed. I may get depressed. Now, I know all of that. So now all of that is competing with this tiny window here where, and I know I'm not perfect, and I'm possibly going to give in to it. So instead of going through the entire vacillating back and forth process, I take, and as you know, I use the Tic Tacs. I take 3 Tic Tacs and I put them in my hand. And here is what's important. From experience, from our discussions, I now know I'm not in control. I want to be in control. It makes me feel good. I like to feel good when I am in control because I feel stronger. I like myself better. There are so many positive things about it. And how many people have said to me, oh, yes, Dr. Schwartz, I've got Tic Tacs. In fact, a woman came into the Boynton Beach office today, and the first thing she did was take out her Tic Tacs. And I promise you, she lost 9 pounds this week. And the first thing she said to me is, I used the Tic Tacs. I didn't know you were going to be here. I thought Dr. Tina was going to be here. And I brought them to show you that I learned what you taught me, and it feels so good. Now, what feels so good? What felt good is she said, I gave up the possibility of my giving in and going through the whole process of self-recrimination and regret and guilt. And I accepted the fact that I was giving up that tiny piece of comfort. And I would be uncomfortable. And I wouldn't be happy about it. But I put those Tic Tacs in my hand, and I reminded myself what you said. They're in my hand. I'm in control now. I'm the boss. And the voice is saying to me, I want. Okay. I'm going to respond to that voice. And I'm going to say, you want? I'm giving you. I'm going to give you Tic Tacs. Now, the voice might say, wait a minute, I don't like Tic Tacs. I'm going to ignore that voice. Because what I want is what I'm going to teach you. You're going to get something. I'm not going to ignore you. I'm going to give you something. And I'm going to give you these Tic Tacs. So now I'm putting these Tic Tacs in my mouth and I'm swishing them around. And the flavor of the Tic Tacs is filling my mouth. I can hear the voice, and I know it's not what the voice wants, but I'm giving the voice something. I'm not ignoring it. And now I recognize I took control. Because if you combined the flavor that's filling my mouth from those Tic Tacs and combine it with the flavor of whatever that I want meant, the combination of the tastes would be terrible, and I would spit out. Now, Dr. Schwartz taught me a long time ago there are no calories in not swallowing. So if I spit it out, I've neutralized, and then I realized something. I didn't cheat. I took a step closer to my goal. I'm in charge. It didn't happen immediately. It took a couple minutes to recognize that when I'm in control, I feel good. And when I'm in control to make myself feel good, and not because I want to deal with anyone else. I want it for me. I want to weigh less. I take a step closer. And the closer I take each time, the better I feel. Now I'm back to me again, Dr. Schwartz. And I'm going to tell you something. Control comes from within. Changing behavior is not easy. But if what you want is possible, I don't mean today, is possible only by taking control of your life and not obsessing about how the outside is impacting on you, to recognize what you want, that will transform you. It may take time, but it's not possible if you consistently repeat the behaviors of the past. Now, we're going to be talking more about this. It took me a very long time to accept the fact that my job is to educate you, maybe re-educate you, and that I'm not here to make you feel good. You're here to make you feel good, and I'm here because helping you makes me feel good. And I have a right to do what makes me feel good. That's why AccuLife. Remember how it's spelled? Accu, parentheses with a U inside it, life. It's you in the center. It's your life. It's the quality of your life. And that's what this is all about. Now, weighing less is what brings us all together. But weighing less is not, it's the process of weighing less and how we personally are affected in this journey that changes the quality of our lives. You're the most important person in the room you're in. You know what I realized a long time ago? I didn't like the me that I was. It's not important why, but I'm going to tell you. It's how Dr. Chu came into my life. I chose. I didn't realize it was burnout. I chose to be miserable about doing something that I wasn't feeling good about. And I blossomed to almost 300 pounds. I took comfort in the distraction of food. The difference is, in my case, I was a listener. And so when Dr. Chu first came into my life, and I got over the immediacy of how to define me, oh, don't bother me, I became a listener. And he said to me, very simply, you, and I'm using my interpretation of his words, he said, you cannot be an overweight weight doctor. And I heard him. Now, I wanted to be a weight doctor because he showed me how I could, not directly, through the process, how I could become more in control of me. And like the me that I was, less than the me I would become. So I listened. And in the process of listening, I realized that my behaviors were counterproductive. And here we are today. Now, let's do some questions and we'll follow through. Here we go. I wrote them down today. I drink close to a gallon of water a day. I weigh around 180. Is it okay to drink more water than half of my body weight? It's an interesting question. First, let's understand. You can live without food. You cannot live without water. You can live for weeks without food. You cannot live without water. Number two, if you drink too much water, then you're not listening. You're playing some kind of game. And the reason is you cannot, on a regular basis, drink too much water because you'll get bloated and you'll stop. On the other hand, you know, if every time I give you a glass of water, you're programmed to drink it, I could kill you. Here's a glass of water. You're programmed. You drink it. It has nothing to do with thirst. It has nothing to do with hydration. Here's another glass of water. You drink it. Here's another glass of water. You drink it. And so, unless you are a machine that's programmed, you can't over because you'll stop. So the answer to your question is based upon statistics. Half your body weight. I don't go there. I go 60 to 80 ounces a day. And since I'm not a water drinker, I like flavor, I add some of the acceptable 0-calorie flavors to the water, and I'm drinking all the time. Now, I drink some days more than other days. And the reason I do is I'm thirsty. And how do I know I'm thirsty? It's what I experience. So the answer to the question is do 60 to ounces, 80 ounces of water a day and see what happens. We'll not have a problem. When you say 2 cups of fruit, do they have to be cut up and put in a cup to measure out? This is one of those questions that I say, hold it. 2 fruits, no olives. An orange is a fruit. A pineapple is also a fruit. But a pineapple is a lot more than an apple. So in order to help you judge, I said a cup, 8 ounces. Let's not play this game. You know, based upon your experience in life, approximately what 8 ounces is. Do the best you can. And don't obsess to the tiny little pieces. So that, for example, you want to have an orange, but it's only a tangerine, it's small. Okay. Take a measuring cup, peel the tangerine, fill the measuring cup with tangerine. Tangerine, measuring cup, I have some visual image of. Now, having that visual image, I don't have to measure anymore. I have that visual image in my head. That's the image that I use, and let's move on. Can I use a protein powder to make shakes on a milk day? No. I don't want to get into the dynamics. No. Now, if we're doing a vegan or vegetarian shake, then a protein powder has meaning. Because in, for example, the almond milk, or the Ripple milk, the amount of protein is negligible. And we're drinking milk because it is our major source of protein. So 20 ounces or up to 10 ounces plain unflavored whole milk yogurt plus 20 ounces of milk. Can I put honey in my yogurt to flavor it? This is one of those kinds of things that always bothered me because I'm never sure what's behind the question. Now, all of us know that I suggest for low blood sugar because honey is very low on the glycemic index, and so it does not raise the blood sugar, it stabilizes it. That I recommend for low blood sugar a teaspoon of honey melted in some kind of liquid. If I'm using it on a regular basis, then somewhere inside I'm playing a game. There are so many things I can use to sweeten that are safe in my yogurt. So I would say don't get caught going into the rabbit hole. If you do it every once in a while, then you've done it every once in a while. If you're doing it on a regular basis, I think you have to be careful. Last question. How much do palmini noodles count toward my veggie day? Palmini noodles are a vegetable, and so they're part of your pound and a half. It's as simple as that. They do not count on any other level except on a vegetable day. Good talking to you. Hope to meet you soon. And remember, you are influenced by you. Don't let the outside world control you. Take care.